All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:32. It is June 25th. It is Tuesday. Hopefully everyone's feeling well. Take a look at the disclosure. Let's get to it. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to today's 6:30 Club. Hopefully everyone's maneuvering this market well. All you could do is have multiple plans and try and execute with confidence and figure out what time frame you are. At this point, this morning, the S&P futures are up a bunch. We've had a nice 3-day corrective phase in the semis and some of the momentum names, which is fine considering we were all over that last Thursday. So yesterday we talked about covering your shorts in the semis. Some of you guys bought some options with me. Some bought some stock. We'll see the type of bounce we get. We'll see where we go from here. But before we do so, let me say hello to some of my dogs around the world. Let's see who we got. We got Tony Wallace in the house, my buddy. We got Itz, always front and center. We got Dob from Dallas. We got Scotty Gids. There you go. Who's that? We got Glenn from Nebraska. We got Blair. We got a lot of people tuning in. It's good to see everyone getting early, getting ready. I know summertime gets a little bit trickier. What I would suggest is though you spend some time and having some fun out there because life could be a little too short. Anyway, with that being said, let's get right to it. If you look here at the chart of the Spies, not the worst action. If you remember last Thursday when we were at 550, I talked about selling premium in the Spies, that we were a little extended 4 days up. And since then, we worked our way down to the 8-day. Yesterday, they rallied us fast and failed to hold 545.65, closed on the lows, and now here we are up a bunch. The real story was the semis. Semis gave you a fast and furious move to the downside, which made people a lot of money. Yes, you're allowed to short stocks and you're allowed to trim and sell into strength. Last Thursday, I was on Fox Business with Liz Clayman talking about overheated, overcrowded. Many people could have done anything you wanted, really. I bought some SMH puts. Most people, whatever vehicle you wanted. Anyway, failed to hold 278. You had this bearish engulfing candle that not only failed to hold the level, broke below the prior low. That's a bearish outside day to get anyone out of some longs and maybe short. And from there, 3 down days into the close yesterday, I don't know, somewhere, midday, I'm like, guys, this is your spot to cover some shorts. Doesn't mean it's a low and doesn't mean you could buy with both hands, but, there's your 3-day move. Anyway, with that being said, this is the low. We're bouncing a bit. I would say this 262 is probably, some resistance. Sometimes you rally back to the 8-day and then you see what the story is. Nvidia was always front and center. Nvidia also is a vehicle for a lot of people to short. They could have sold their stock into 140. It failed to hold 136. Gave you a nice bearish hello, get out of the way. And then yesterday we did talk about buying from 120 and below. It didn't give you really a clue to take it on the close, so you had to be, a little bit, speculative with taking some, knowing it might open below. And P.S. It's up 360, which is kind of cute. They had to close it on the lows to open it up 360. It is what it is. So if you're not long any Nvidia, okay, and you didn't buy any kind of options yesterday or position, it's a little bit of a trickier trade. If it was down 350, I'm sure everyone would be like, oh my God, I'm buying as much as possible, including me. But now it's up 360. It's a 121.72. There is some room towards 124-ish if it wants, but still, not the greatest strategy. So what did I do yesterday in the semis? I didn't do a lot, but I did buy some Nvidia 125s. So that'll pay me this morning. I'll probably sell half on the open, hold half. I did buy some Avago 1850 calls yesterday, thinking, hey, going out a week after, the split. And I actually even bought a little bit of AMD. So these are for this Friday. Avago is for the 19th, and Nvidia is for July 5th. So I'm not in a ton of stuff, but 3 different sets of options. So at least I knew my risk on the 3rd down day. I was hoping we'd be down one more, and I could have, really, grabbed a bunch. But it is what it is. Anyway, with that being said, 124 is your resistance there. As far as AMD, it felt as if AMD wanted to show some relative strength. It felt as if AMD was ready to actually act a little bit better, but again, couldn't do it without the semis, and the semis sold off into the close, so it came down. If this can get above 163, maybe there's better action. It doesn't trade that well. I did buy some 165 calls just in case it wanted to act better than it's acted since the top here in March. So we'll see how that goes. As far as mega cap tech, yesterday was definitely a tricky day. I've been focusing on Amazon, and it looked as if it was going to get above and stay above 190, and it didn't. Listen, guys, a lot of people are like, Red Dog, what do we do? What do we do? I'm like, well, I positioned in Amazon here. At 185 is when I was buying the 192 half calls. I was also in the stock. So made good money on Friday when they gave you a little follow through. And then yesterday, although I would have loved for it to get above and stay above 189.28 or 189.94, or even 191.70, guess what happened? It didn't. So if you were going to add another tier in your tier system because it looked like it would finally get above a resistance level, you had to take that off when it failed. So I did reduce into this and made some money, but obviously, into this down move, the other half of my options didn't work. The shares that I had on lost me money, and it went from looking like it was going to be a rock star day into just a day in the life of an Amazon trade. So see what happens today. Does it, repair a little bit and then look like it could do it again in the sessions ahead, or does it open up 90 cents or $1 and come lower? I don't know. All I know is this has been going sideways for quite some time. The actual weekly chart has been hovering up here for quite some time, and it really is, excuse my French, a pain in the friggin' ass. Yes, it has been. But anyway, one of these times it's going to go and not remember that it was a pain in the ass. And if it wears you out and you're not in it, whether it's later this week, whether it's in September, it's going to laugh at you if it wears you out, because ranges are meant to wear as many people out before it resolves. And this hasn't resolved yet. So that's what it is. It is what it is. Get over it. The market's not here to make everybody rich. It's here to only reward those that have a process, a plan, discipline, and who could stay with, the action. So anyway, Apple yesterday also was a little tough. Apple, if you remember, we did reduce when it broke this 213 area. I did buy a lot into the close on Friday, options and stock, because I was like, you know what, the rebalance is a mechanical sale, and it did give you a nice move. But did it really have to go all the way up towards 212.70 and then just bleed the whole day? That's the problem with some of these mega cap techs, is like they make this move in 20 to 30 minutes that are so fast, and if you don't go with them fast, you're like, all right, let me wait for a pullback, and then all of a sudden it pulls back all day long, and it gets frustrating. Meta did that. Meta was up 12 and then went red. That's not easy. Tesla was up 5 and then went red. So if you missed the first ramp, and said, oh, let me buy a dip, you got ran over, and that's not easy. It's not easy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's not easy trading, as the computers or this, that, whatever it is. It's a pain in the butt. Like Tesla yesterday. I expect this from Tesla now. So for me, I did not chase it. I did not buy it up 5, but I was buying the 192 halves, a lot of them, okay, on Friday of last week, thinking that maybe it breaks above this range, for July 5th. So when it was up 5, I'm like, holy cow, those options I bought for $1.10, $1.20 at $2, I sold over a half. I was up a lot of money at 10 o'clock. So if you go here, here is just say Tesla. I was up, and so here's your intraday, right? So this, or you can't really see it from yesterday, but it got up to here. Actually, you do like this, fast, and then that's it. What time was this? 10:10. It just said, nope, I'm done, and then just gave back the entire day over the course of an hour and did nothing. That is a tough trade. Doesn't surprise me anymore, because Tesla's not a special name. It's just not. So, So you got to take some off, and then you got to stay with some because it could have stayed up 188, 189, and then went to 192, 195, and it would have been awesome. Instead, it faded and failed. It is what it is. What up, Amelie? He's a first timer. Oh, okay. Space says Nvidia Investors Day today, big conference. All right, Micron earnings is tomorrow. That's true. So a lot of people like, what's Micron going to do to the semis? I'm like, it depends where the semis are, right? If we were down 4 days in a row into Micron tomorrow, that'd be a great setup. If all of a sudden Nvidia gaps up today and goes all day long into Micron's earnings, the setup's not as great because it's not as oversold. So we'll see where we are later in the day based on the trade. I will be taking half my options off and holding half into Micron probably tomorrow. Anyway, some people like they made more with me with energy than they've made with anyone else, and I'm not an energy trader. I just bought the XLE when I was on with Cavuto for the rebalance trade a week ago yesterday, and it was a nice move. Okay, so the question is the XLE back? Is this descending trend line broken? Well, I was buying the $88 calls here for $1. I sold the rest of them yesterday for $3.50. That was a great trade. So someone's like, what does roll up mean? When you roll up options, what does that mean? Well, it means you're taking a higher strike that cost less and you're risking less. So, from these dollar, options, they're up at like 340. I'm like, let me take that off. I'm risking too much. So I took those off. And then I went out another week. I went to July 5th and I bought the 93s for 40 cents. So I bought these for $1, sold them up to about 2.5, kept the rest, sold the rest for 3.5. Trade is over, booked in the bank. And then I'm like, you know what? Let me roll them into just in case this descending trend line is broken and we see 93 in a week or so from now. I could buy 40-cent calls to stay with it. And if it gets up towards 93, there'll probably be at least a double. So that's what they mean by rolling up options. I don't love this sector. The sector is annoying to trade, but maybe it trades a little bit better now that, it got a little bit above this. And I'm still in Oxy. Oxy, I was buying. I actually bought on this higher low here. Sold some, bought some, sold some. Nice little trade for Oxy. This is Buffett's accumulation. I think he's up to like 29% of the float or something. It's kind of crazy. So anyway, that was a good trade too. So I don't just trade Nvidia. I don't just trade Amazon and Apple. I try and trade other things. Some guys were trying to get me in the banks yesterday. I'm not in the banks. If you look at Bank of America, looks pretty decent. Except for I just wasn't in the mood to buy banks just in case it's not a real rotation trade. But Bank of America looks pretty good. JP Morgan, if you guys remember, okay, when you had this red dog reversal sell, bearish engulfing candle. Well, took a long time to work it off. Doesn't mean it's going back to highs, but it did after a big move correct a bit. I'm not going with the banks right now. I'd rather trade my semis, long, short, get the feel, see the price action, trade mega cap tech, do some indices, and not be jumping around. And if I'm going to, I'm put a little exposure onto other sectors. I need more clarity. But so far, again, the XLE is pretty good. The XLE, it should not give more than half of this back. Which look, this looked good right here, and then that happened, right? So we'll see how that goes. NVO weight loss drug approved in China. All right, what does that look like? Let's see. That's Steve Dowling telling us. All right. Well, this is a nice looking chart, nice looking upper bull flag. It's probably up a lot, you would think, right? If it got approved in China, NVO up 281, so not crazy. What's this high here? This high here is 144.50, so it's already above that. Okay, so if you're in this one and you were playing for it, these stocks have been awesome. Lilly's been awesome. This, last time I charted it was here. I haven't been playing this stock, but looks good. Yeah, it's got to hold this. Holds above 144.50. It can go. Congratulations. Look at Lilly. Lilly's been a damn rock star. Lilly, my first trade of this year was Lilly right here. If you guys remember on Power Plays, 587 when it broke this descending trend line. What a move. And then you had another move above 647. And PS, the last time we focused on this, we were all buying options, was in this area, you remember right around here, even if you look on the public Twitter, Red Dog's time stamped, and I made money, which is even better. Right around here, I'm like, you could buy the 800 by 875 call spread, or buy the stock, or buy the 820s and PS, and went to 905. And some are still trading it against 870. I bet you this is down a little bit because if there's a little competition, maybe this cares. Is it down? Nope. They're saying so it's still up. So another good sector. This sector has been great also. So I see a lot of complaining on the internet, a lot of complaining in social media, a lot of complaining everywhere. And you know what? Complaining gets you absolutely nowhere. What gets you somewhere? Looking at how you handled the trade. Did you do it right? Did you do it wrong? Did you buy too much? Did you add at the wrong time? Did you use your tier system? Did you get in too early? Blah, blah, blah. Bobby 4.0 knows all that, right? He's my Tampa boy. Bobby 4.0 means he's on the fourth version of himself. I'm probably on the third version of myself. Had two other versions, which we're not going to get into. But anyway, we'll see what today brings. Spies are up, like I said before, up about 10. This week's an interesting week. You know, the last week of the second quarter. To be honest, I do think that this 550 does not get taken out. I would not be like adding into this little, push up. If anything, maybe sell some premium higher. I still think, like I said before, that there's a tactical top in the semis, but doesn't mean you can't, make money trading it. This would be resistance one. If it takes back 262 and takes back this candle today, that might show you a little bit of power. If it gets rejected here and goes lower, then there's definitely more work to do to the downside. But ultimately, in my day count rule, which you have to definitely look at, and you can Google Red Dog T3 day count rule. By day 3, you should be done with the trade. So if you shorted the SMHs day 1 and added day 2, you should have been done with the short on day 3. Doesn't mean you had to be a big buyer. The way it closed, it looked like it was coming into 250, but you could also test a little bit and then say, hey, if it goes lower, I'm going to get a lot bigger because 4 down days is your day to bounce. So what I did is I took 3 different sets of semi calls yesterday to play for a bounce because my risk was defined, and it would have been nice for a down open. Didn't happen, so we'll trade accordingly. Either which way, at 650, I got to get with the alpha team. I got to do my 30-40 charts. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Summertime, definitely get outside, get some fresh air, sweat. Sweating is good. The more you sweat, the better you feel. 4 weeks will be Thursday will be 4 weeks to my heart surgery. My valve is working good. I'm feeling better. I'm going to do a little video for my first little sauna ice barrel. It's coming soon, coming this weekend. Not going to stay in the sauna for a half hour, but 10 minutes. And I'm not going to put 3 bags of ice in my ice barrel, but I'll definitely do some hose water. And Red Dog will be back on schedule. Anyway, I appreciate all the positive vibes, and hopefully you guys are making money. And then again, when the half a year is over, you better look at how you did, what you traded, and be honest with yourself. So this way you can improve and get ready for part 2 of the year, because we will be done with part 1. All right. Good luck to you guys.